Hello and welcome back to the Lore Raider. Have any of you ever wondered why the Biologic Space Laboratories Company was on SR388, and why in the world was Samus Aran actually with these people? Well, if you're familiar with the channel, you know part of my answer, and that is, in the Metroid lore, you probably know that the BSL was all but certainly in the pockets of the ringleaders. Who are the ringleaders? They're a shadowy organization, a part of the Federation military that is extremely corrupt. However, to further elucidate us on this matter, our favorite bounty hunter left behind her diary for us to read, of all things. It's from the Metroid Fusion manual, and it sheds much light about the moments before the doomed SR388 mission. First things first, this diary in of itself is extremely unique. Aside from the mangas, within the scope of the video games, we rarely get a true insight to how Samus thinks in words, aside from her recollections in Metroid Fusion and her extended monologue in Super Metroid. Oh, and Other M? Well, there's only one place for that.
Know your fucking place, trash!
But more to the point, although short, this diary gives a unique insight into the mind of our favorite bounty hunter. Now, the first part of the diary worth mentioning is Samus explains why there's a mission to this planet at all. In a world without Metroids, the native species of SR388 were still struggling to create a natural hierarchy, one that didn't have the Metroids as the apex predators. Evidently, the Galactic Federation personally hired the BSL company to keep a close eye on the planet as the ecosystem restructured. However, it turned out the Federation, specifically the Federation military, did not hire Samus. Indeed, evidently, a local Federation governor personally hired Samus to act as backup. What's immediately interesting to note is that not even that SR388 has a planetary governor, which actually is a little surprising given it's described as extremely remote. But no, what is actually surprising to me is that the Federation military, or rather the ringleaders, didn't hire Samus, but a random civil servant did. Extremely telling to me. The diary, of course, continues. Samus describes SR388 in her own words as, quote, a vile planet, and again as, quote, a forsaken rock, showing her disdain for the world, which makes sense as it is the scene where she committed genocide against the Metroid species. From there, the diary explains events as one might expect, her infection and her slipping into a coma. However, Samus does note that the BSL station is a recently built station, but more importantly, we also find out that Samus's injuries weren't treated at the BSL station, but all the way back at Federation headquarters, which is on Earth, and also confirms the X did indeed multiply inside of her body and left her with a 0.873% survival rate prognosis. This actually goes back to a previous video of mine where I questioned how in the world Samus survived X parasite infestation, and the idea that she went from SR388 in the middle of nowhere all the way to Earth and survived whilst the X was indeed inside her body makes it even more baffling how she survived. Fun fact that SR388 seems to be close to Sagittarius A, the Milky Way galaxy's supermassive black hole, via the Metroid 2 Samus Returns sort of showing of the planet. This is how far Earth and Sagittarius A are. So, the fact that she survived that trip is really impressive. The final bits of the diary really show just how deadly the X-Parasite threat really is. When Samus is just awakening from her coma, she notes a distress signal from the BSL station came near immediately afterwards. She described hopping into her new ship and explaining she would be on the scene in just 10 minutes. And as we know, within those 10 minutes, those mere 10 minutes, the entire quarantine bay would be cleansed of life by the X-Parasites. Indeed, the entire diary shows just how close the SR388 mission was doomed from the start, and that the Chozo were kind of foolish for messing with the X. I'll explain that more in a second. But the diary confirms that basically, when locked behind sheer animalistic intelligence, years after Metroids are gone, the X did not become the apex predators and would have been just fine if left to their own devices. The X only become a threat on the galactic stage once the BSL go poking around the planet, and of course, who hired them? The Federation. If Samus had not taken the hit from the X when she did, and had she not fought it off for so long, an X-controlled Samus may have slaughtered the BSL agents on the planet, or even worse, went on a rampage on Earth. In other words, the Metroid Galaxy was extremely lucky that Samus was there on this doomed mission, or this could have ended in another tragedy. And, well, they should be thankful that she has bullshit MacGuffin powers that let her survive the X, but that's just me. But you know how I leave you. Be safe, be wise, and please pray for true peace in space. Ta-ta!